Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. We got a great episode for you today. The start of the NFL season, Thursday Night Football, and man, oh man, did we get a treat. The Detroit Lions upset the Kansas City Chiefs 21-20 in Arrowhead Stadium. And the Chiefs, they got a well-deserved loss, and they gave the game away. But hey, man, first off, I appreciate you tuning in to the First Interactive Sports Podcast. You know, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, disagree with, you like, you dislike, give us a call, and we will play your take back. 219-413-9405. Man, what I witnessed from this Chiefs game was absolutely sickening. It was crazy, and it was a well-deserved win from the Detroit Lions. But look, before I even dive too much into that, I got to tell you right now, we got to hold a special ceremony. Now, I know you're probably wondering, like, what the hell is going on? What do you mean a ceremony? Man, no, I need to let you know right now, a ceremony for something so serious. So look, if you're watching the video, then you know what's going on right now. You can see what's going on, but let me describe it for you if you're just listening to the podcast right now. All right, look. So the reason you hear this music is because the spirit of Detroit is slightly returning more and more. Each game that the Detroit Lions win, the spirit of Detroit is returning. It's becoming more and more valuable. The Detroit Lions ain't won a season opener since 2017. They ain't did nothing. They've been garbage. For the last 20 to 30, 40 years, they've been cursed, right? When the last time you seen any networks talk about the Detroit Lions in a good way that wasn't talking about them being the same old Lions? The spirit of Detroit is here. Each week they win, it's going to get brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. As you can see in my hand, what I'm holding, this light here, is going to get brighter and brighter the more the Detroit Lions win. But because of this win against the Kansas City Chiefs, they've earned it. And that's why you see this light right here. It's getting brighter. So just know, if you out there, I say Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones all the time, but if you're out there in Detroit right now, you out there in the hometown, just know, this morning, the sun is going to shine bright as hell. Embrace it. It's no telling when you might get another win from the Detroit Lions. Let's be 100% honest here. I mean, how long has it been since we really celebrated something like we actually won? Last time we celebrated something like we actually won, it was when Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl, because we was like, yes, it's Detroit. We actually won something. But this right here is different. This is a season opener here. This is a start of a new era. I mean, can I just talk to you for a second now, Lions fans? I mean, we've been waiting for a long time. So I'm going to just keep it short. I'm not going to hold you on. We got a show to continue on with. We got a program. I got to analyze this game that just happened against the Kansas City Chiefs. But I need you to know, embrace this win. Let that sunshine hit your face. Let this light hit your face. All right? All right. We're not going to hold you up all the way, all right? So let's do this. Let's move on. As you know by now, by listening to our little service here about the Detroit Lions, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs 21-20 in Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs deserved to lose. They gave this game away. And what I witnessed was probably the worst football I've seen from the Chiefs since the Pat Mahomes era. It was absolutely sickening. And it wasn't all on just Pat Mahomes or everybody else. It was a collective effort that made this performance so bad with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not trying to discredit the Lions. I'll actually embrace the Lions in just a sec, but let me get through the Kansas City Chiefs and what they did wrong through this ball game. Because Pat Mahomes wasn't really accurate. He wasn't there throwing passes to people. Pat Mahomes threw 226 yards, had one interception and a quarterback rating of 77, but his decision-making and the targeting was not there. Threw to some guys, had some bad passes, threw it behind them, threw it over their head. Things we don't usually see from Patrick Mahomes, who's a Super Bowl MVP. Let's be honest about the situation. And then for the guys who dropped all of these goddamn passes throughout the game, just really showed that they were not trying to win. I mean, you had over 7 drop passes in this ball game, and there was one that turned into an interception. That was not Patrick Mahomes' fault. There was a situation here with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the ball game in the fourth quarter, down by 1 point, a game-winning drive, honestly, and they dropped a wide open pass. Wide open. And then to make matters even worse, this same exact drive where he dropped the pass, they started 4th and 20 because of penalties, had a false start on 4th and 20, so went to 4th and 25. Like, come on, man. And it's the offensive tackle who had the flag for offsides was doing it all game. So truthfully, I was honestly shocked that they even called it this time. Like, I mean, it was crazy. But as far as the passing and all of this stuff, like, I knew the Chiefs would not be as good offensively without Travis Kelce and wouldn't be as good defensively without Chris Jones. But god damn. Like, are you serious here? You mean to tell me people can't even catch the ball without Travis Kelce on the field? Pat Mahomes might as well have been throwing to his goddamn self out there. The defense gave up so many runs. They gave up so many plays on the defensive end. The D-line couldn't hold a damn thing. They played so bad. They gave up 118 yards on the ground. It was probably the worst condition I've seen the Kansas City Chiefs in this Pat Mahomes era. But look, as for the Lions here, because the Lions really did do something worth praising, I will say the Lions put belt to ass in this game against the Kansas City Chiefs all night long. I'm telling you, like, man, it was nasty here. It was a straight bully ball, and they bullied these guys from the start of the game. At one point here, it got a little chippy throughout the game, and there was many moments where they got chippy throughout the game, but it just looked like it was really feeding the Detroit Lions energy into being hype and showing like, all right, we really got y'all where we want y'all because we're getting you upset and things are getting chippy. The Lions looked like they were built for all of that chippiness and all that scrappiness and toughness and stuff, that the same stuff that Dan Campbell been preaching since day one. So I was happy to see the Lions actually ball out. The defensive line looked great throughout the game. Hutchinson balled out, coming off the edge, very hot. And altogether as a defensive line unit, they really brought a lot of pressure toward Pat Mahomes. And I thought they did a hell of a job doing that because it made the defense look nice. The defensive backs did their things. The linebackers did their thing. And the offensive play calling was damn good. It was great play from the running backs. Montgomery had 74 rushing yards. Jared Goff earned his buffs tonight. Congrats to him. Yeah, it's a Detroit thing. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean. I'm going to just keep it plain and simple. But he earned his buffs, had 253 yards. He showed his ass in a good way. And I know it's only one game, but if they continue to play the way they did in this game one against the Kansas City Chiefs, I see the Detroit Lions probably starting off 6-0, to be honest, bro, because there's no one on the schedule that's really contesting the Lions in a way that makes me think they can lose against the rest of these teams. So week 2, they got Seattle Seahawks. That's probably going to be their most challenging game going forward, and that one is also going to be in Detroit. So they're going to be fired up. They're already fired up, but they're going to be so fired up bringing that game back to Detroit and playing against the Seattle Seahawks. They play the Atlanta Falcons at home in Detroit as well. I think they're going to beat the Atlanta Falcons as well, even though I would love for the Falcons to win. But truth be told, the Lions, they need it more. Let's be real about it. The Green Bay Packers, easy win right now. No more Aaron Rodgers to worry about. The Carolina Panthers, nothing to worry about over there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, nothing to worry about over there. The Baltimore Ravens will probably be the most the most challenging team for the Detroit Lions in the upcoming weeks, but they don't see them until at least week 7. So Reason why I say Lions very much may go 6-0. I'm proud of what I've seen from them, and I hope they continue to keep it up moving forward. Now, I got some side notes here, completely unrelated, so we'll switch it up just a little bit. Now, Duke and Clemson played each other last week in NCAA football, and Duke put a beating down on Clemson, 28-7. A lot of people were wondering if Clemson could bounce back, and the way they looked in week 1 against Duke, who's a basketball school, it didn't look too promising. Let's just be real about the situation. I would be shocked, but I'm also very confident in saying that Clemson probably won't have much success this year. They got an easy win this week against Charleston, South Carolina, or Charleston, some super small school, no disrespect, but some super small school that they're going to be playing. So it's an easy bounce back win to get their mojo right, but they should be disappointed. And if you're a Clemson fan, this is not the year for you. We're just going to keep it plain and simple and say it that way. Now, as far as Florida State, they beat LSU 45-24 last week. Florida State gave them boys work, as I said they would. Jordan Travis, he threw for 342 yards, 4 touchdowns, went 74% completion rate with throwing the ball. Now, this was the guy who I said was a Heisman candidate last year and arguably a Heisman candidate this year going into this season. So glad to see that man ball out and do what he did on the field. Looking forward to him having another solid week. As far as college football, last thing, and then we'll move on to some NFL, Bears, and then the news for the run. They're playing the Packers, all of that. We'll move on to that in just a sec. But Colorado and Deion Sanders, they won their season opener against TCU. They upset TCU 44-42, and it was a close game here. Colorado really stepped up on the defensive end, and I was happy to see what I seen from them, especially when it came down to the wire. Now, the offense, they look pretty damn good. Shedeur Sanders went off. He broke a school record with 510 passing yards and 4 TDs. I was shocked. I didn't really watch him at Jackson State. I knew he had some skill because he was highly recruited, but the man balled out, shut out any doubts that I possibly had in my mind for him playing that quarterback position, and that's just the truth being told. However, there was some concerns with the Colorado football team that I had. Offensively, they looked great. Let's be real. But defensively, they still gave up 42 points, so that's something to me where they have to tighten up. Even if it was against TCU, who played in the national championship, 42 points is a lot of points to give up. So they're going to be playing a lot more competition down the line. They have a very, very tough schedule in the upcoming weeks. But I think they can do it. I think they can show up. That's just one of the things that I noticed where they need to tighten up. Obviously, the star of the show, Travis Hunter, was that guy last week. Played both ends of the ball beautifully. On the offensive end, 80 snaps. On the defensive end, 60, or I had that backwards. On the offensive end, 64 snaps. On the defensive end, 80 snaps. 11 receptions, 119 receiving yards, locked down his side of the field on the defensive end, 1 interception, didn't allow many completions at all, and he's really making a strong case for the Heisman candidate after this game. But I know it's only one game, so he has to keep it up through at least week 8, week 7 to really, really be considered. And there's been a lot of talented guys that played both sides of the field but didn't win the Heisman, which is why I would really, really love to see this type of talent be rewarded. And the first guy that comes to mind is Jabril Peppers. He was one of those guys that balled out at University of Michigan around 2015, 2016. But the man did everything. He did everything, and he still didn't win Heisman. He played slot receiver, played running back. Hell, I even seen him do that quarterback a couple times during those years. And then defensively, would turn and go play some defensive stretches as well, playing at corner, playing at safety, playing at linebacker, like wherever he was needed. And he balled. He balled out, but he didn't win Heisman, lost it to Lamar Jackson. But it was a hell of a class. But I would really, really love to see Travis Hunter win this Heisman. So I'm hoping he keeps it up in this next week going forward against Nebraska. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a battle, but I think they can pull it out. It's going to be dope to watch. So that's something you want to keep your eye out for tomorrow. Colorado versus Nebraska. That's going to be dope. But anyway, look, we got some more stuff coming up. Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. I got to highlight that because I'm actually be at that game. So, I'm going to be turned up. So you got to, you're going to have to check the socials and all of that. But we also have some news for the run coming up. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more of the run. News for the run and the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers coming up in just a second. We'll be right back. All right, and news for the run. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow signed the highest contract in NFL history. 5-year, $275 million extension was granted to Joe Burrow. The reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa, and the San Francisco 49ers have agreed to a 5-year extension worth $170 million. The Los Angeles Lakers, they have signed the big man Christian Wood to a 2-year deal, giving them some extra bench support or possibly some starting support. FIBA Basketball World Cup semifinals are here, down to final 4 teams. Germany will play the United States. Canada will face Serbia later on tonight. Now, the winner of these 2 matchups will face off in the World Cup final for basketball. And tomorrow in college football, there's a few good games to look out for. Now, Alabama, they're going to be taking on University of Texas, which is highly anticipated. Colorado University, they're going to be playing Nebraska at home in Colorado, so that's going to be interesting to see if they can go 2-0. USC will play Stanford, and in the NFL, the only game we care about this week is the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, because I will be in attendance at Soldier Field, so I am super excited to see what's going to go down here. The Green Bay Packers have been beating the Bears down for years and years and years. The Bears, they beat the Packers once in the last 10 years. Like, this is crazy. And in the last 20 years, the Bears only won 3 times. So I'm super excited to see this matchup, and it's a new era for both teams. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers, they done lost Aaron Rodgers, so they really got to figure something out quick. And for the Chicago Bears, they've been preparing for this for some time now. Let's be honest about it. I mean, Justin Fields, he's been balling for the past few years, really showing his potential and what he can be. Obviously had some mistakes in the past few years. They lost 11 straight last year to end the season, which is horrific, but it's lining up good for the Bears this year. I say Justin Fields, he's finally got some more experience. He's going into his 3rd year as a starter for the Chicago Bears. He has more arsenal on his offense. DJ Moore as a star receiver now for a first option. He's got some beef on the offensive line finally. Got some pieces on the defensive line that the Bears can count on. Great linebackers that I'm excited to watch come Sunday. TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. Man, both of them are very, very versatile. Can stop the run, can cover the pass, can play Mike, can play Will linebacker, whichever one you need. So I'm excited to see those two. And what better way is it to start the season off with the win, but a win against your rival team in the Green Bay Packers? Like, man. So just know, I'm going to be excited to watch this game. I'm about to have a great time watching this. And truthfully, I don't see it being a close game because I genuinely cannot think of one reason of why the Green Bay Packers are actually going to make this a game. And I know we shouldn't underestimate Jordan Love. He's still a great quarterback in the NFL because he is there. He's present. He's a quarterback in the NFL. And there's plenty of other people who would love to be a quarterback in the NFL, but they just did not have the opportunity or capitalize on the opportunity. And to add to his favor, Jordan Love, he played 2 seasons behind Aaron Rodgers. And I mean, he had to have learned something. Whether it's going to show on Sunday or not, he had to have learned something. So I would be shocked if he didn't at least come out and show some sort of potential, but I'd be lying if I told you I think they'd make it a game. It's no reason the Bears shouldn't win this game by a large margin, and that's actually what I'm expecting. So I'm excited to see it. Just know, if you want to keep up with anything that's going on with the Bears game, I definitely will be active on our socials at The Run Podcast. On Facebook, Instagram is where we usually use our content and post the most content on Instagram, TikTok, all of that stuff. At The Run Podcast. You can follow my personal as well on Instagram at I am Manny Wilson. And again, man, hey, if If you heard something you agree with, disagree with, that you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to get something off your chest, feel free. Leave us a voicemail call and we will play it back later on air for our next episode. 219-413-9405. Don't worry about the timing or topics getting old or none of that stuff either, because we're going to make sure it match up. We'll set the mood right and play your voicemail back on air. So 219-413-9405. Give us a call. And until then, man, share this with a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a coworker, anybody you know or you're close to. And all my Detroit Lions fans, you damn sure better send this to a Lions fan. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to find you if you don't send this to a damn Detroit Lions fan or even a Chicago Bears fan if you are here in Chicago. But until then, we will be back later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.